Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Maz, and today I wanted to share a quick 5 tips for you when wedding planning that could save you upwards of $10,000. Just to start out, I want to let you know that I'm not a wedding planner. I am just a girl who recently got married and had to do all of this process with my fiance, and I just wanted to share a couple of helpful tips that could maybe help somebody out in the future. Just to start, I want to let you know that I am based here in Texas, and my wedding was back in 2024 when I had some of these prices and estimates given to us. And of course, all of these are just going to be my personal opinion, things that I found to be helpful, maybe things that people hadn't really thought about before, or just things that I had found on the internet and things that actually did work for the day of our wedding that helped it just be, as smoothly as possible. It was a beautiful day, nothing that I would change about it, but also just kept us right at our budget. We're not in any debt from our wedding. There's no loans, credit cards, things like that. So again, just my opinion. So just to get started here on number 1, I am wanting to talk about wedding planners. I would say it's not necessary. You do not need to hire a wedding planner. This was something that I knew from the beginning that I didn't really want to do. And looking into it, the cost for a wedding planner can be exponential. Looking here at some numbers in Texas, they can range from about $2,000 to $10,000 for a wedding planner. So this is going to be, of course, just instance by instance. Sometimes people will find family members that can do wedding planning, a friend that can do it for them, which is really awesome because the price can be crazy. So what we did instead of that was to find a day of coordinator. We both knew that we didn't want either one of our moms to be working the wedding, so we knew we wanted somebody there that was able to do some coordination, tell people where they needed to go, where they needed to sit, where they needed to stand for photos, things like that. That wouldn't be our moms because we wanted them to enjoy the day as much as we were enjoying our day. So we went with a day of coordinator, somebody that we had actually met at a bridal expo here in the town that we live in. So we were able to meet them really early on in our engagement process and sit down with them, have multiple meetings with them, let them know what we were wanting to do. All in all, cost us less than $900, and they were able to really help us out the day of. They also helped us with our rehearsal dinner. So I'd say a big one there. Probably don't need the wedding planner unless you're doing, of course, an extravagant, something that needs more hands on deck. But if it is just more of a day of, somebody to give direction, things like that, I'd say go with a day of coordinator versus doing a wedding planner. For number 2, the next thing I wanted to talk about was decor. Decor and florals are going to be a big part of your cost for your wedding day. Florals themselves can range into the thousands upon thousands for just, flowers that you're going to use for that day. Something I would urge you to look into would be renting your decor and renting fake florals if you can. There's of course companies that do it online. I know there's a couple local people. We were able to go with a local company here where we live, and we were able to look through her warehouse. It means tablecloths, plates, cutlery, cups. If you're hanging anything, drapery from the ceilings, if that stuff can be rented just for the day and then returned later on, you're gonna save a big amount of money. And you're not gonna be stuck with a whole bunch of stuff that's just taking up space in your garage either. Big thing was for my centerpieces, because I knew I wanted lots of white flowers, white roses, greenery as well. We were able to find all of that stuff and rent it and then return it after the wedding. So I think that was a huge deal. I'll try to insert some photos here as well too, just so you can kind of see what I was going for and how our day of turned out as well. We were able to get greenery for around the arch as well at the end of the aisle. That was really important to me. But again, all of it was rented and all of it was fake. So it looks very good in photos. Absolutely. It looks totally fine in photos. People say you can't even tell that they're fake, and that's the point. It's just to use them for this and then they go back to the warehouse. And I had also bought a couple of these fake bouquets from Hobby Lobby. This is the only one that I have left. I've sold the rest of the ones that I bought on Facebook because I think that's just, the next thing. It needs to go to somebody else for their wedding. But of course I kept one just because it is near and dear to my heart. But yeah, it's just these white fake flowers, look great in photos. They don't cost more than $20. And if florals are the most important thing to you, then of course you go ahead with that. But just knowing that it does add up, the cost for flowers can be a lot. It can be a lot of money. But I would just say I recommend this to everybody if you're doing like a Christmas party, graduation party, birthday party, weddings. If you're able to rent some of that stuff, that's really going to cut down on your cost, and you're also going to not have to store it afterwards. You're not going to have to worry about selling that stuff afterwards. It goes right back to the person that you rented it from. Yeah, that's it for number 2, would be trying to rent decor and florals if that's something that you wanted to do. Okay, so tip number 3 is going to be to create your own signs if you can, using Canva or something similar to that. So what I mean by this is going to be signage that you used for any of your tables, your guest entry table, your dessert table, signs for your little guest name tags if you were going to do those as well, reserved signs for seats if you wanted to do that. All the signs for the wedding, besides a couple that I had rented from that same company that rented everything else to me, I had made on Canva, just looking over at like Pinterest, Instagram, some inspiration. I was able to use a template or 2 on Canva just to make my own thing that was just like pretty cursive writing that could be printed out in some really nice cardstock and then just put into a frame is really what I did. I'll try to insert some photos here as well to kind of show you what those turned out to be. So trying to cut some costs there, making sure you're not spending too much on these single-use items, because what are you going to do with them after the fact? And again, if you have things that can be rented and returned, is another good idea to save the cost. I'd say if you're able to use Canva or use someone's Canva Pro account, even better, because then you're able to make exactly what you want it to look like, print it out on some nice paper, put it into just the simple black frames, and make it your own, and it's much cheaper. For tip number 4, this one is going for what we did for our wedding cake. So going into our engagement season and wedding planning and all of that, I really was wanting to do a 3-tier white wedding cake, just the classic what you would see on Pinterest and on movies, and you know, you can picture it in your head. I had reached out to a couple different local bakeries here in our town, and one of them that I have written down here, I was quoted $850 for a wedding cake, which if that sounds good to you, you go ahead. I'm not saying anything to anybody to do exactly what I did, but in where I was at, I was saying that's not really feasible. Again, planning a whole wedding here, I had to think about different budgeting and what I was really wanting to spend the most money on. Anyways, back to what we ended up doing. We ended up doing a personalized heart cake for me and my husband, which I can try to put a photo of here as well, which was just little heart cake, probably cost $50. And then for our guests, we actually ordered 2 different large sheet cakes, full sheet cakes, and those were cut up by our day of coordinator and served to the guests during the dessert time and during the cake cutting. By doing this, we spent less than $200 on our wedding cake and had the same cake as all the guests. They were able to do our filling, our flavors, and we actually had ordered it from a local grocery store. We actually ended up using Market Street to do our wedding cake. Going through a grocery store is going to be different, of course, depending on where you live, what grocery stores are available to you. It was the discount option to do a wedding cake, but the experience was exactly what I was looking for. So it turned out amazing. People still talk about our wedding cake to this day, and they're shocked when I say it came from the grocery store. So I would do that again 100 times over. Utilize your big grocery stores if you're needing a lot of cake. Of course, support local when you can, but if it is going to be for a ton of people and that just isn't feasible, look at your options and what you can do there as well. My 5th tip, which is going to be the last one for this video, and I think is super important as well. And again, it's just going to be a personal one that we decided to do. We got married in December, and we also got married on a Sunday. So this added 2 different discounts into our venue. So venues here in Texas can range, of course, from a couple $1,000s to upwards of tens of thousands of dollars. So just to kind of give you a perspective on that, I know venues here in town that are charging more than $10,000 for an evening for a wedding, and I also know venues that are charging around like $4,000 for an evening. So of course, go venue shopping, but then maybe if they do offer one of those discounts, if you are getting married outside of wedding season, and if you are getting married on one of those off days, which is usually like Sunday, Monday, Tuesdays, you know, random things like that, maybe see if you guys can fit your day into one of those off or discounted days to save you a couple $1,000s, because that's really what ended up helping us pick our venue. It was beautiful, of course, but also just because they were able to be so flexible with us and with the pricing too. Peak wedding season here in Texas is typically going to run you springtime, which is going to fall typically March through May, and then again during our warmer fall months, which is going to land you around September to November. So we got married in December and on a Sunday as well. So we were able to knock, I think it was, if it wasn't $1,000, it was a little more than $1,000 off of our full venue pricing, and it didn't knock anything off of the venue, it just knocked off our cost. So maybe just be vocal to your venue if you are going within a budget, for them to be aware of what you're looking for and to see if they offer any of those discounted days or discounted times of the year, just to see if that's something that could be helpful to you guys. And again, I am not a wedding planner. I have no real experience in this besides planning my own wedding. I am just a girl trying to help the other girls and the grooms out there. Again, if you have any questions, comments, recommendations for other people, please feel free to use the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching my video today. If you wouldn't mind liking and possibly subscribing if you'd like to see some more of my content in the future, it'd be much appreciated. And I hope you have a great rest of your week, and good luck wedding planning, and congratulations if you're in that season of your life right now as well. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.